Welcome to the Jennifer J. Hammond Podcast. Jennifer is a licensed realtor, educator, speaker, and best-selling author. Jennifer's goal is to help you find your yay in every day. Jennifer is grateful for the opportunity to educate, empower, and inspire you with powerful conversations, insights, and new viewpoints. Here's your host, Jennifer J. Hammond.
This is Jennifer Hammond, and I'm here. I'm so excited. As you know, I love when we get to highlight amazing women and women that are really trailblazers, that are actually changing the world, and quite frankly, I'm going to say, make the world a more colorful, happy place. And so my next guest, I'm really excited about, marry somebody that I have admired for a while, and she's a personal brand expert, 2 times Amazon #1 best-selling author, speaker, fashion and color authority. If you're watching us right now, you can see how beautiful colors she has everywhere. Award-winning humanitarian and, of course, advocate for women and children. She is internationally recognized guest on many stages and TV shows. And for all of you who watched the Today Show, she was recently on the Today Show sharing her expertise on personal branding and relationships. She appears on so many different platforms, and I'm so excited. You're a former Ford model, which just means that you understand how to move and how to show yourself and how to be that glam girl for all eternity. So welcome, Mary.
Wow, yay! Thank you, Jennifer. What a joy to be with you. Oh my God, I'm so excited about this beautiful interview today and to hang with you, my beautiful, happy girl.
Well, thank you. I love, because you have that energy. And again, I think even from your background in modeling, you realize that one of the things that's so beautiful is that you are, in everything you do, you're bringing out that inner light. And that's something that is so important. And I know that you know the power of color. Like, I love the lavenders and the pastels, but I grew up in Key West, Florida. I grew up on a little island. And so I have a tendency to lean toward color. Will you talk a little bit about the power of color?
Absolutely. And, I'm in Palm Beach today, Florida. Yay! And that gorgeous Key West light is that it's warm. It is just totally infused with chi energy, which is the life force, action energy. So we love Key West. So the power of color. So, color is a non-verbal communication. It's actually language because it vibrates just like everything else that we do. And so once we understand the color vibration and how that color communicates emotion, we can use and leverage color, not only to make ourselves feel better, but to make the world light up with joy or confidence or peace, whatever it is that we want to beam into the world. We can leverage color by the colors we use and wear and put around us to communicate that before we even say a word.
It's so funny that you say that. I have to share this story with you briefly. It's a quick story, I promise. But when I moved from Key West up to Washington, D.C., it was so funny because, of course, just like my purple suit today, I often showed up to my job with these, what I thought were just beautiful colors. And I had gone to one of the clubs we have in Washington, D.C. They call them city clubs, like a country club, but these clubs. And I had showed up for dinner with, a bunch of my new friends. And one of the older women, she walked over to me and she said, "Well, I see you're a very brave woman." And she gave me this look. And it's funny because I didn't realize that she was criticizing me in a negative way. I was like, "Well, I certainly am, but I'm not sure why you're saying that." And she said, "Well, wearing that color of blue." And it was funny because it was it was a bright kind of royal blue. And my grandmother, who of course lived in Fort Lauderdale, had sent it to me. And so I was very proud of it. And I said, "Oh, it is very nice." But from her viewpoint, and then she gave me she schooled me, as we used to say in the old days, on how I needed to wear more black, gray, and navy blue. I needed to be in more muted colors. And I was like, "Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know that was a rule." And she's like, "It is. And if you want to be taken seriously as a businesswoman." Now, of course, that was about 20 years ago. So obviously more people are more accepting of my brilliant, bright colors that I wear and the things that I do. But I am curious because you've been around a while. So I know you've come across this gray, black idea that those are the only professional colors. What would you say?
No. See, no. I mean, there was a time in the history of feminine empowerment that women felt that the only way they could get ahead was to dress like men.
Yeah.
And of course, that no longer serves us, and it is no longer even effective. And actually, it dulls our light and it makes us play small. We are now in a place where women were ruling. We play as large as we want. So the lesson we take away is black. Okay, black is actually not a color, right? So white is the combination of all color vibrating at its perfect frequency. Black is the antithesis of that. Why do people wear black? People wear black because it is a protection color. It prevents the world from seeing our authentic selves.
Oh, that's
so
powerful.
It would be very understandable that a woman who has, taken the powder, right? She drank the magic potion of smallness and fitting in, that she would school you on black because she doesn't want you to expose your inner nature and power. One of the reasons why is because it makes her appear smaller. Yeah. So now that women have gone beyond competition, and we are now into working together for the highest and best of all of us, black is no longer, I mean, if you want to look sexy, you want to wear a little back dress because you want to be mysterious to the people in the world, in the room, go for it. Black, gray, blue, color of non-commitment. Great. That's how we want to be known. I am the Jennifer, you are the non-commitment girl. I don't think so. No. Doesn't honor us, doesn't honor them. Now, silver, totally different because silver is the yin color. Just like gold is the yang, the chi. Silver and all those beautiful pearl silver colors, those are really just the receiving colors. So those we can wear when we are in a space of nurturing, when we are in a space of receiving love. So that's the one exception to that gray. But no, those days are long gone, girl.
Good. I love hearing that because I also, as I'm mentoring people who are women, especially who are coming into real estate or into their business or whatever, I get that question now and I share that story and I say, even though I was completely clueless at the time and I didn't even realize that she was talking down to me and that she was invalidating me. And there was so much of it that I was completely oblivious to. And I'm glad because
God.
I didn't get upset. I did try to conform for a bit. It's almost like I think of it like, I love butterflies. It was like I still couldn't help it. I still popped out of my cocoon and still ended up in a bunch of bright colors. And I realized that I also found the people who accepted me for my bright colors and all of my little happy things that I did. And I decided that the people who wanted me in muted colors, the navy and the grays and the blacks, that I just went ahead and thought, well, they're not the people that I'm going to be able to help. And that's really the whole purpose of me coming and doing everything I do in life is that I'm hoping that I'm going to help people. And so I just thought, well, the only way to help is to be me. And
authenticity in your brand. And that is the whole truth. And what I have found coming out of the slumber that we have been in for the past year, let's call it a slumber, is that people have changed in this year. And now that we're all coming back to ourselves, we are more in touch with who the essential soul is. Who are we? We can choose our future. We can choose to be happy. We can choose to be rah-rahs, to cheerlead for each other. One of the ways we're doing that is by lifting each other up every time they look in your direction. Color has the power to do that, or to lift someone up when they enter your room. Or for someone who's in the real estate business or any homeowner who wants to change their game at home. just change the color of your room.
Well, and that's where I want to, let's switch gears a little bit, because with color, so many people, as you know, in year 2020, that when this pandemic and everybody started spending more time at home, as I'm going to use my air quotes, became home. The definition of home became completely different, because it ended up becoming a classroom for children. It became your office. It was like everything. And of course, one thing that people found is, oh my gosh, I need to find a space that again helps me not feel trapped, not feel like I'm in jail, and not feel like I can't expand and grow and be me. And so how do I do that? And, as you know, in New York City and some places, when the space was small, it was even harder. Washington, D.C. as well, if there was tiny little spaces. So can you give us a little bit of a walkthrough, kind of tiny spaces? What kind of colors? What do we do? Bigger spaces? Can we use multiple colors? What do you say?
Well, I think yes, and yes. And I think we've all now become into the world of we are now beaming live from our homes. And whether that's a meeting or a virtual tour or what we're doing today, we are all, our homes are now our studios. So how do we infuse that light? First of all, I always say all you need is a really small space. Yeah. You need a small space, and it doesn't matter what's outside the perimeter of your camera. Don't worry about that. If you don't have the opportunity to put a permanent space in action, and very few of us have that space, then, for instance, what I do is I have a table that I slide on an arc. And the minute I'm going to do a Zoom show, I just slide in so that what I'm showing the world is just what I want to see. But in 2 seconds, I can move that desk back and my room becomes functional. So furniture that you can move. The second thing that you need is lighting, because if people can't see you, they can't enjoy you. And the wrong lighting will make something look bleh, and the right lighting will make something beam up. Now,
and I want to say, before you go any further with the lighting part, I just did a Zoom call with, we were putting together the buyers and the sellers. We had a huge problem with a real estate deal. I mean, a big problem. And there was funny, the agent on the other side was the only person without her ring light or without lighting. And she was in the dark. And then it was funny because every time she said everything, you could just feel the energy. Everybody was kind of like almost suspicious, like, find a better light. Like, what are you doing? You're like talking to us in the dark, and we're on a Zoom call. And how many Zoom calls? You have to be able to figure out how to get a light or how to have better lighting so that you're not just this kind of gray silhouette. And it was interesting to watch how many other emotions ended up kind of vibrating out from that.
Yes. So light. And you do not have to spend a lot of money. You can get an inexpensive ring light for sure. We all have to have that. Mm-hmm. But also, I do this, I produced professionally for a long time. I have these great lights that are movable, and they're really colorful. And whatever light I need to beam into balance, I put that forward on my little thing. It cost me $50. I have 2 of them. They're fabulous. But let's talk about the soft furnishings. So many people don't realize that the emotions that you're conveying are around you. So for instance, I'm a pink girl, pink, pink, pink. Pink is the color of love. For me, I love pink, but I don't do pink walls. I do white walls. Why? Because I can change my set based on the emotion that I want to convey. But for me, pink is one of my basic colors that I always wear because I infuse love. That's what, Mary, what are you doing here? Love and joy. I love you. I accept you. I honor you. I appreciate you. And I root for you. How do I do that? Okay. Obviously you can see I have a little pink round couch that has followed me now for 11 years. And it's the perfect size because it doesn't overwhelm me. You don't want to look little bitty bitty in your set. You want to be the largest thing in your frame. But the pink infuses me. Now I have a little painting behind me that my 9-year-old granddaughter did. So you don't have to spend thousands of dollars on art. I gave this big painting canvas to my granddaughter. I said, have at it. Boom. And people love that painting. Why? Turquoise blue, the color of communication. It's a seascape. Who doesn't want to be on the ocean or the sea? And it ties in that pink and that blue. The next thing you want to do is you want to add something that's living besides you into your set. I love roses. I have roses all the time in my world. So I have roses. Now, what color roses do I have? Today I have lavender. Yay! Purple is the color of creativity. It's
I love purple.
Spirituality, and it's the color of forgiveness, which is interesting in my divine color system. But who doesn't need a little forgiveness every day? Even some forgiveness. Oh, I can't believe I did that, right? Right. So those support me. And then on this side, I have beautiful whites, which is the color of confidence. It's the color of purity. It's the color of all things being balanced in your world. It's a really high energy color with a very soft pink, which of course is self-love. So ladies, gentlemen, you want to infuse an aspect of nature, green, pink, yellow, whatever it is. Infuse good lighting so you look like that you're alive and you actually want to be here, not hiding in the dark. Make sure your lighting is good. It changes during the day, so be aware. Oh, I'm going on at 4 o'clock. I may have to put this shade on. I'm going on at 9 o'clock. I may have to have an extra light there. Natural lighting and the basic color groups. Green, anything you infuse with green is going to enhance peace and calmness. Nature coming in. A green plant, you can wear a little pretty green outfit if that's your gig, if that's your color. Green will do that. Yellow, so cool. Yellow is the color of mental clarity in my divine color system. What happens? The eye doesn't see yellow naturally. In order for us to perceive yellow, we have to come to a higher level of focus. So if you have a short session, if you have a short meeting, and you want to bring your audience, your buyers, your sellers, to a higher level of focus, wear yellow. Have the yellow right where they're going to focus on what you're saying. That's going to make, I'm paying attention to you. What are you saying? Okay. Yellow does that. Blue, teamwork, cooperation, integrity. You know, if you're in the business where trust is the highest order, if they don't trust you, they can't do business with you. Blue is a color that you need to be constantly bringing around you. So those are a few. Name a color, Jennifer.
So, well, I was going to say, well, purple is my favorite. So purple, and then like the dark, the royal, the blue that pops out. That's that like royal blue. I love that.
See, okay. Another thing that is so important. This is such a great segue is that the intensity of the color is important.
Right.
If you're walking into a room and your important aspect of your personality is to listen to others, then you want to wear a more muted shade, little soft. They open up the heart. I'm listening to you. I want to know you. I value you. Those are the more muted colors. If the brighter the color, the more intense it is, the more powerful you become in it.
Wow.
So the royal blue is the highest level of trust, intensity, teamwork. A leader, if you're a very intense leader, may be too much for your audience, right? Tone it down. But if you happen to be maybe a little more meek or you're on for a short period of time, bump that up. So intensity is really important.
I think intensity is so cool because I watched it really change the way people interact with you when you wear different shades, and especially the intensity of that color. So I'm curious, as you were talking, Mary, one of the things that made me think was, have you ever had anyone ask you, how do you, because I think about all the different, recently I was understanding a lot of different viewpoints on color because of color blindness and because, so I'm curious, how do you define color? Because it's a reflection, right, on what is your personal eye seeing. So how do you define color?
It's very interesting. Well, I obviously define it as a vibrational level. So for people that are colorblind or blind or visual impairments of any type, and I was asked this on my very, very, very first interview when I created this program, which was a long time ago, and I was like, oh my God. Color for me is an experiential vibration. So if that is really true, then your perception of color is secondary to the vibration that it emits. Your color is, vibration is sound, vibration is smell, vibration is, texture, but everything vibrates. So for me, the color would equally impact someone who can't perceive the color as well as you do.
Yeah.
They may not be able to decipher and discern, but they should be able to experience it on a vibrational level. So for me, color is all about vibration, all about that. But the more vivid you can be, and the more trusting and authentic you are, not only in your color, but in your voice, in what you're saying, the more aligned you are, the more people will say yes. A confused mind says no.
No. Yeah.
So if what you're saying and what people are seeing don't make sense, they're going to say no.
Absolutely. I agree 100%. And it's even with my real estate. One of the things that I talk to people is I was like, so I'll ask often, do you have any questions? And don't have any back off on asking me the question over and over again. Because if you didn't understand it, or if I use some of my legal terms that I didn't think about or whatnot, there's a million reasons why you might not understand it. And just ask me again, ask, because a confused mind can't make up a decision. And I've experienced it. I'm sure you could tell us stories about if you're confused about something, you get stuck, and it almost reminds me of black. You might try to stay hidden. And you were saying the color black is one of those colors where you're trying to hide. And I think so often people are afraid to be vulnerable and afraid to say, I don't know. And again, if you're confused, it's so powerful to say, I don't know. And I want to know. And I know I already asked it before, or maybe I've asked it 3 times. Who cares? That's the only way we can really connect is when we really connect, not when we pretend that we're connecting. So
it's true. And, in sales, especially regardless of what we're selling, and every day that we're in the world, we are selling ourselves, if nothing else, right? And not for any bad reason, for the highest and most beautiful reason. We want acceptance. We want to have communication. We want to have relationship. It's how do we get people to the yes?
Yeah.
How do we get people to the yes? Being our authentic selves, showing up in wardrobe that uplifts us and uplifts the people that are watching us and communicating with us, and being in rooms that imbibe and convey the emotion that we want to project. And, in paint color is very interesting because paint has a lot to do with lighting. Again, we go back to light. So depending upon the light that's coming into that room, the paint colors that we choose for that room are not the little tiny swatches we get, but they're actually have to live and breathe in the room around the clock. So when we talk about painting rooms or the risks we take when we paint rooms, the first thing we have to consider is the natural light that occurs in the room. Once we start with that, then we can start going into palettes that serve the room the best. And I always say to the people that I've worked with when I had my luxury paint line is this: what activities are the people in that room participating in? Mm-hmm. How do we want those people to feel? And are they going to be in that room for a short period of time or a long period of time? The longer people are in the room, the more the color will impact them emotionally. And we don't want to wear people out.
Nope.
I had a client who painted his entire house orange. The entire home was shades of orange. I mean, and I'm a color girl. And I'm like, whoop. And plus that says a lot about the orange personality, which we don't have time to get into here, but it was perfect for him. And I walked into his room and I was like, oh my God, I love this room. I can be in here for about 2 hours. And then I am exhausted because orange is the color of enthusiasm. Mm-hmm. It's the color of fun. Mm-hmm. It's the color of rah, 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 rah. But none of us can stay there.
Yeah.
At that level of excitement forever.
So I'm so curious now that you said that. I had a client and I have this listing. And when I walk through the house, I always walk through and I literally grab my pen. Here, I've got my purple pen. And I'd have them write down the things they need to do to change in their house before we're going to put it on the market. And of course, we got to the master bedroom and it was an exquisite master bedroom. And they had this really thick emerald green carpet. Ooh. And it was funny because I love the color of the emerald green so much. And I didn't have the heart to say, you need to rip it out. It needs to go to like a neutral, blah, blah, blah. And that became a mistake. I learned that they really needed to rip it out because it became the thing that prevented me from being able to sell that house. But I'm curious on what you think about an emerald green carpet, thick, beautiful, but like overwhelmingly emerald green in a bedroom.
Horrifying. Because, I once was in a house that had orange shag carpeting. Like, the thing about offering a home up for sale is that the people, and you are the expert, I mean, the people that are coming into that home, you want them to feel like it could be theirs, that making it their home, not a house, is attainable for them. When we interject strong colors into a home, it really is about us. Now, it is our home, obviously. But if the goal is to sell our home, then it really has to become a little bit about how can they envision their pieces in there. Absolutely. Colors emotionally trigger people. So for instance, if somebody comes in, Mrs. Jones comes in, and she had an emerald green carpet in the house she grew up in, and every day she was called on the carpet for something she did, guess what? The minute she sees that color, it's gone. And I see this in my dressing room every day. Every day, men and women are triggered by colors from their childhood. Mm-hmm. So let's put a neutral down. Let's put a beautiful beige. Doesn't have to be white, a beautiful light beige. Depending on the light in the room, you can make it warmer or cooler. Let's put in, a white. And the way to get around that sterile feeling, which can happen when we bring everything to neutral. And I live, obviously you don't see much of it, but I have lived for many, many years in a white house. And one of the reasons is that I love colors so much. I change my colors all the time based on how I feel. And I like soft furnishings. So that's a way to add color into a home that's for sale. Bring it to neutral and then add soft furnishings. What do I mean? A throw rug, fresh flowers, a plant, throw pillows, an inexpensive piece of art. Something like this that you can just say, oh, well, you can just give that up. Donate.
Absolutely. I 100% agree, because the thing is you can change those throw rugs and those throw pillows, but I need neutral to start with. I need the palette to start with neutral. And it reminds me if you've ever seen an artist that paints an oil painting, most of the time they will actually, the first thing they do is they cover it with like a gray or some other background so that the white isn't even the back of that.
Correct.
I think that's a huge lesson we can learn is we can do all sorts of things to spice it up, and we can even change those depending on whatever's happening. But we need to start with that as a neutral.
Yes. And the smaller the space that you have, the bigger the color impacts all of us in it. So in order for light colors expand, dark colors recede, they close in. Big colors make space look smaller. Light colors make space appear larger. So if you have a small flat and you would like to get a decent price for your flat, of course, and we all do, then I would say, you have to lighten it up. Do things that make the space appear as large and spacious as it can. Obviously, mirrors have a lot to do with that, but when you deal with mirrors, you have to deal with what the mirror is reflecting.
Yeah, exactly.
And back to color. Right.
Mary, I need to definitely have you back, and because I want to go into a bunch of different. I want to go down that rabbit hole and down, as we call it, on the bunny trails. There's so many different ones, and we could talk for hours. But I know we're just about out of time, so I want to ask you 3 questions really quick about color. So here's my fast round. What would you say the best color is for each one of these rooms? And then I'm going to give you 3 rooms because these are the 3 most asked about, or the 3 areas most asked about in a house when you're putting it on the market for sale. So number 1, the front door, what color? Red, neutral?
If your house has character, I would put a color there. It's easily painted over, but put a color that invites people in. If you're in Key West, you're going to do a yellow, a spring green, a pink, a coral. Yep. If you're up in New England, you're going to do a red. You're going to do a really pretty blue. You're going to do a great green. It's regional. Perfect. In the front door, go.
Okay, number 2, what about the kitchen? This is the most talked about area because people spend so much time in the kitchen. What color should the kitchen be?
What color the kitchen should not be is blue. Blue is the most unappetizing color.
Oh, okay.
So blue is a place not for the kitchen. Warms, terracottas, think of an Italian kind of, warm bistro. The oranges, the apricots, the yellow, sunflower yellows, the reds, the russets, the terracottas. Those are all great because they enhance the appetite.
Okay, so, number 3. Number 3, the bathroom. What about the bathroom?
Oh, wow. I don't know. I think people need to love themselves in the bathroom. So, I'm going to go with pink in the bathroom. I also really like turquoise in the bathroom.
Okay.
Because it's clean and it's refreshing and you feel when you're done.
Perfect. Well, I know we're just about out of time. So as I say, I'm known for saying, yay. So I'm curious, Mary, how do you create yays in your day?
By being grateful every morning. I start my day with gratitude. Blessed to be here. So grateful is how I start my day. That's how I do the yay in my day. And then I find joy in every little possible nuance of my life. I go for the joy. And when I'm with people, I find the joy in them. And if we can focus on the love and the joy, I promise you're going to get the yay. Make that person happy.
I agree 100% on that. I'm so grateful again to you for being here today. Will you share with people how, if they wanted to get in touch with you, to either interview you, to have a consultant, anything, how do they do that? Social media, website, anything?
Well, thank you. And thank you for having me on. I just love you. Oh, so awesome. And I would say, probably through my website is the easiest, marygiuseffi.com. There's a contact page. It comes directly to me. So marygiuseffi.com, go on there and you can discover all kinds of things about who I am, what I'm doing. May I do a shameless plug for my new book, which talks all about your divine colors and fashion. And then
so for those who are listening on audio, you need to say the name of the book.
Undeniably You, the good, the bad, and the fabulous. And then, Facebook, it's Mary Giuseffi, Instagram, Undeniably You, Mary Giuseffi. So I kind of use my name. So if you can do that, you will find me. And it would be my honor and privilege and joy to connect with you.
Well, thank you. And one last thing I would love, I'll do a 3, 2, 1 countdown. Will you lift up your voice and share your yay as we go off? 3, 2, 1. Yay!
Hi, I'm Jack Canfield. You may know me as the co-author of the Chicken Soup for the Soul series. And if you want more help in getting from where you are to where you want to be, I want to encourage you to listen to the Jennifer Hammond Show